Hi, my name is Lyric, and today we are going back to our Jonny Arnett reactions, and we are going to react to 4 times the conference finals decided the championship. The main ones I could think of is like early 2000s Western Conference when the East was super weak. So, the Lakers versus the Kings was the real finals, the Lakers versus the Blazers, opposed to, the finals that ended up happening. So, yeah, let's see what goes on here. Let's just, no long intro, let's get into it.
The NBA has two major conferences, the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, and for as long as the NBA has been a thing, the winner of each conference are the teams who play in the NBA Finals.
Makes
the thing
sense.
is, that doesn't necessarily mean that the two best teams in the league are being represented in the NBA Finals, because decently often, the two best teams in the league are actually within the same conference. Today, we're looking at 4 instances where the two best teams were clearly battling in the conference finals rather than the NBA Finals. Let's get into it. First off, the 1971 West Finals.
Lakers,
The
Bucks,
winner of the East Conference
Wilt versus
was about as
Kareem,
improbable of a winner as
West
they
versus
come.
Oscar.
Although the Baltimore Bullets had quality star players like Wes Unseld and Earl Monroe, they were a pretty average team throughout the regular season, both offensively and defensively, which is why they barely snuck into the playoffs with a 42-40 record. Somehow, they
I made the
played
finals
far
with a 42
above
and
their
40 record.
expectations when the playoffs began, as they won every series in 7 games up until the NBA Finals. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, two
Wow, that's actually
championship
insane.
caliber teams were battling it out for a trip to the game's biggest stage. It was the Los Angeles Lakers, led by Wilt Chamberlain and Gil Goodrich, up against the dynamic duo of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson of the Milwaukee Bucks. Headlining the matchup was a battle of two of the greatest centers of all time, as both Kareem and Wilt had fantastic showings throughout the series. Ultimately, Kareem and the Bucks were just too much for the Lakers, as they closed them out in 5 games. Although that wasn't the longest series, there was still little doubt that both of those teams would have easily handled the Bullets, who were in way over their heads being in the finals in the first place. As expected, Kareem and the Bucks destroyed the overachieving Bullets, sweeping them in 4 games and winning nearly every game by a double-digit margin. Next is the 2000.
This is the one I know about. Rigged. Rigged.
I gotta be
Rigged.
honest, I think out of every series on this list, this one was the most obvious that the championship winner was coming from the Western Conference Finals. The New Jersey Nets were a solid team, but at this point in history, it was widely recognized
they got swept by the
Western
Lakers.
Conference as a whole was far superior to the East. The Western Conference Finals were a matchup between the Sacramento Kings and the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers. At the time, these two teams had a fierce rivalry, and throughout the regular season, it was basically a foregone conclusion amongst basketball circles that these two teams would meet up in the West Finals. The Kings had won 61 games throughout the regular season, and the Lakers had won 50.
Closest they've came to a championship.
Meanwhile,
Modern NBA
the
history.
New Jersey Nets won only
They should have won
52
it.
games throughout
Rigged.
the regular season.
Rigged.
Yet they had the best record in the entire Eastern Conference by a couple of games. That should tell you all you need to know about the disparity between the East and the West during that era.
Yeah, this
The
West was
Lakers and
stacked.
Kings series
2000s
was
West was
an
absolutely
absolute
stacked.
classic, but it was also a series mired with controversy. At the end of the day, the Lakers won the series in overtime of the 7th game, and we all knew what would happen next. In the finals, the Lakers took their victory lap by sweeping the New Jersey Nets in 4 games, confirming what we all basically knew before the playoffs even started. Next up, the 2009 West Finals. That season,
Lakers,
the winner
Nuggets.
of the Eastern Conference was the Dwight Howard-led Orlando Magic. And although they were a solid team, their road to the finals was a bit easier than it should have been, considering how the defending champion Boston Celtics lost their superstar Kevin Garnett to a knee injury before the playoffs began. If it wasn't for the injury, everyone would have expected a finals rematch between the Lakers and the Celtics in the finals. Now, the Western Conference Finals was a matchup between the motivated Los Angeles Lakers and the extremely hot Denver Nuggets. Now, the Magic did have a better record than the Denver Nuggets, as the Magic won 59 games throughout the regular season, while the Nuggets won only 54. But you have to consider that the Magic were playing a majority of their games against a weaker Eastern Conference.
The thing about yeah, once again, I think this was the year where like the 8th seed in the West had like 50 wins,
While the Nuggets
or like maybe
were
this year
battling
before
it
that,
out
it was
with a
like
much
yeah,
tougher
the West
The other part you have to
was super
consider
stacked,
is
you
how
know.
the Nuggets were building team chemistry throughout the season.
Yeah, Melo
Early
and
during
Chauncey.
that season, the Nuggets traded Allen Iverson to the Detroit Pistons for the former Finals MVP Chauncey Billups. Although Iverson was certainly the bigger name, Billups was the better fit. The thing is, Denver had to build their chemistry throughout the season, but by the time the playoffs had rolled along, they were one of the hottest teams in the entire league. Kobe and Carmelo had epic individual battles throughout the West Finals, and at that point, everyone seemed to recognize that whoever won this series was going to win the NBA championship. Well, you guys know how this played out. Kobe and the Lakers won the series in 6 hard-fought games and advanced to the NBA Finals. And as expected, they made quick work of the vastly inferior Orlando Magic.
First one
comfortably
without
winning
Shaq,
in only
baby.
5 games. Lastly is the 2018
100%,
Western
100%.
Conference Finals. For LeBron James
Fucking
fans,
J.R.
this
Smith,
season
third best
is
player
remembered fondly for
on the
James'
Cavs.
incredible effort throughout the regular season and the postseason, carrying his Cavs to the NBA Finals. Most people recognize how the
This is the series where you get 27 missed threes in a row.
Eastern Conference was weaker during this time, which aided LeBron's trip to the finals. Regardless, his incredible run was still impressive. One of the reasons LeBron's run was so improbable was the fact that this was his first season without Kyrie Irving by his side. When you look at that Cavs roster from top to
Terrible,
bottom,
terrible.
anyone who knows basketball
This might be the worst team in NBA history to ever make the final. Like, it's
could see how
insane.
they didn't have the same level of talent as the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. Those squads were the juggernaut Golden State Warriors and the 65-17 Houston Rockets. This is recent enough history.
The Rockets actually may be the best, are one of the best teams to never win a
because
championship.
You guys probably know all of the details.
Harden and
Houston
CP3.
and Golden State had an epic 7-game series that looked like either team was capable of winning. Although the Warriors did end up closing out the series in the decisive 7th game, the Rockets starting point guard and their second best player, Chris Paul, suffered a season-ending injury in the 5th game with the series tied at 2 games apiece. With Paul out of the lineup, the Rockets were incapable of reaching their ceiling, which ultimately led to the Warriors closing it out. The Warriors then went on to sweep
Chris
LeBron
Paul, the
James and
unluckiest
Cleveland
player, bro.
Cavaliers in the NBA Finals. And in Game 1, it took one of the greatest performances
51,
of
8 and 8.
LeBron's life
Had
to
lost
keep the game
because of
close.
JR.
But the Rockets,
Oh.
not only do I believe the championship was decided in the West Finals, but the Rockets also won both of their regular season matchups against Cleveland that year by an average margin of 18 points.
Damn.
Whether it would have been the Rockets or
Insane.
the Warriors, I think either team would have made quick work of Cleveland in 2018. So what do you guys think? What was a playoff series that was actually better than the NBA Finals? Let me know in the comment section below.
Let me think. What's one that you wouldn't have mentioned here? I'm thinking potentially like 2012 Heat versus Celtics, where Celtics went up 3-2 and LeBron made that face and dropped potentially his greatest game ever. They made quick work of the OKC Thunder in the finals, the young Thunder. Maybe that, something like that. But yeah, if you have any more examples of this in the comments, leave it down below. I think this is an interesting thing to look at when you're studying NBA legacies and like how they performed in the finals. Well, maybe the finals wasn't the hardest matchup. Maybe you should look at the conference finals and stuff. And yeah, that was a pretty interesting video. Obviously, make sure to subscribe and watch all of Jonny Arnett's videos. He's a fantastic NBA YouTuber. And yeah, bye.